Hi, I'm Linda from paperboutiquewithlinda.com. DIY personal planners and calendars were so popular at the recent CHA show that I decided it would be fun to make my own. I just couldn't wait to purchase a kit. First, I'm going to do a video tour of my planner, and then I'll talk about how you can make your own. I think we'll end up doing two different videos before we actually finish the planner. Well, let's take a look at it. First of all, I decided to make my personal planner 5.5 by 8.5. I have a full-size planner, but I really wanted a smaller version. And I used the ARC system, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I cut all of the paper, then we open it up and there's just a personal profile page. Let me center that for you. And then I left a couple sheets blank so we could add things as we go. I love the fact that there's a whole year at a glance, and I'll tell you how you can get these free printables to make this calendar as well. Next, there is a month by month, just some little fun month planning sheets that you can have for upcoming projects or whatever you would like. And then I also created all of the dividers and the tabs, which we'll go over probably in the second video. The notes are also from the website we'll talk about. And what I like about this planner is that I like to have a month at a view, or a month at a glance, and then I like to have a weekly planner. There are also sheets that you can print for daily planners, but I like to have a week at a glance. So let me just show you. This was one from a website I printed. And then I decided here to make my own, and I just used a simple table that I developed in Word. And let me show you how I'm going to use this. Now, this is a mock-up, so it's not representing really reality, but I just wanted to show you some of the fun things you can do with this weekly page. This is for the week of February 9th through the 15th. You've got your to-do list here. What's really fun about these personal planners that were shown at CHA is it's really a combination between a calendar, a smash book, and sort of a little bit of project life. And what I did is I just cut some photos. We made these little flags, and I'll show you how to make those. And I just love the fact that you can put little stickers. You can use number stickers up here. It's just totally whatever you want it to be. You can make it to fit your needs, and you could even make the sizes bigger. You could eliminate the notes page or the notes column and make these a little bit bigger, but it's the main thing is just to have fun with it. And what I actually did is I did a complete 4 months, and the reason I did that is I don't like the super thick planners, so I thought I'd do the 4 months, and then you can just remove them and take them and store the 4 months. Or if you like a thicker binder, you can purchase these larger expansion discs and use those. So that's an option that we'll also talk about. I'm not going to go through page by page because the months are very similar, but I wanted to show you this. I just created a little tab here where we can put little sticky notes that you can use. Here's another printable, and we'll talk about that. And then March is very similar. Very similar, and then April the same way. And when you're using, one thing I do want to mention, when you're using the ARC system, it's better to pick it up like in the middle and move it over. You could also use the system and do a 3-hole punch and just use, binder rings for it as well. But it's easier if you just lift up, and there's May. And I want to show you just a couple of other things that I've done. Let me show you one more thing here in May. I have taken just a little piece of scrap paper, and you can do that throughout the binder and just decorate, decorate the month at a glance calendar as well. And then I love these little project life cards that you can insert. And I'll talk about how to get a ruler. And these are wonderful little pages that I just pull out and use as grocery lists or to-do lists, and you can put them up high and have a tab at the very top. I also created my own weekly planner just using columns and a table in Word, but there's also weekly planners available that you can print for free, and I'll talk about those. I did a bill paying record, and I love these. They're Post-it notes that have little tabs on them, and we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about some options for the pocket. And what I've stored in here are just things for my actual calendars to make them kind of fun, some of the flags I created. Well, I'm going to just go back to the very beginning and show you the cover again, and we'll get started. I'll pause for just a moment, kind of reset up here, and then we'll talk a little bit about constructing the bones of the book, and then next week we'll talk about more of the accessories. Well, I'm just going to pause for a moment and we'll get back together. I just want to share with you a few of the supplies that you're going to need. You can purchase this ARC paper punch from Staples, and it's the punch that I use to punch the covers, the inside pages, etc. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also purchase the ARC rings in different sizes. These are the larger size. And I just wanted to let you know that I did a video that you may want to watch before you get started called Making Your Own Smash Book Using the New ARC System, and I'll have a link to it. It will tell you how to use this actual punch and how to get started before we actually construct the book. So that's a video you may want to watch. The other thing I want to talk about is some of the paper that I've used, and I'm going to just move this to the floor for just a second here. I've just used some regular inexpensive cardstock, and this is Georgia Pacific cardstock that I bought at Walmart. And I used it for some of the thicker pages, and I'll go over that with you, which ones I used it on in just a moment. And I love, instead of using copy paper in my inkjet printer, I love using laser paper, even though I don't have a laser printer. And I like the bright white, and this is from Staples. You can also purchase, if I failed to mention it, the ARC Punch System Everything at Staples. I'm sure you could probably find it on Amazon.com, but I bought mine at Staples. So you'll need some paper. It doesn't have to be this paper, but it could be, you know, copy paper to print the inside calendars. And I used the white ginger stack from Die Cuts with a View. This stack has been around for about 3 years, but I loved the color, so I went ahead and used this stack. You can use any paper collection that works for you. And that's most of the supplies you're going to need to get started. Well, let's go back and talk. We've already talked a little bit about the ARC system. You're going to take a look at that video. I cut the outside cover 6 by 8.5 inches. And then I cut another piece the exact same size. And I just used some of my, just some of this adhesive to just on the corners to attach the pages. And that's probably the best place to start, is with the front and back cover. And the reason I cut this 6 by 8.5, it's the same height as the rest of the pages, but the width is longer. And let me show you why. Because I wanted it to cover up the tabs. If you want the tabs showing, then make it the same size. Let me show you what I mean here. When you lay it open, there's about 1/2 inch, because all of the rest of this is cut at 5.5 by 8.5. So that's the starting spot. Next, what you're going to do, and I'm so excited to be able to tell you this, if you go to the website scatteredsquirrel.com and look across the top of her page, you will see printables. And she has personal planner printables or dated calendar printables, and they're all free. And that's where I got my printables. And the fun thing about her site is you can print in the 8.5 by 11. You could do a full-size planner, or she has it 5.5 by 8.5. Let me just show you another example. I created my own week at a glance, as I mentioned earlier, but she has one here that you could use. You print them out like this, and then all you do is just cut it right down the middle and punch it. And like I said, you could use a 3-hole punch or whatever punch you wanted. You wouldn't have to use the arc system. I just love it. So you'll want to go out and spend some really quality time looking at the pages and the printables and kind of get ready for the next step. This is one of her printables. She also has notes. She also has, you know, a month at a glance. She has calendars that are dated, not dated. So the biggest decision will be to go out. She also, here, let me just show you this. She also has some pages on things to do. She has menu planning. The biggest decision will be to go out and decide what pages that you want to print. Then the next step, after you punch them, is what I like to do is, on this case, I left this blank, but what I did is I just glued them back to back. And now I use the heavy, when you're printing, this is the other decision. This is done on the heavier cardstock, and I've done some on the thinner laser paper, but you can see how thick this is for 4 months. So if you wanted to save some bulk, instead of printing this on the cardstock, you could print it on the light copy paper or the laser printer paper. And then all I did was glue them back to back. And I just did that really simply. And let me show you, because this will be the first step. I went ahead and punched and inserted them. And then all I did, I found the easiest way to glue them together was just to put a little bit of tape, just very, very little, and then line them up this way and then bring it up. I found it easier to do after they were punched and inserted in the book. Plus, you can see what pages. And you don't have to. I mean, I just left this to show you, but you really don't have to glue them back to back. I did here. This is back to back. And all of these I printed. I created this and I printed those front to back, but you don't have to. Anything goes. So really, for the basic first step, go ahead and go out to scatteredsquirrel.com, pick out the pages that you want to use in the book, go ahead and punch them. And like I said, you don't have to buy the arc punch system. You can just, you know, 3-hole punch and use binder rings. The pages are actually set up for this system, and I think they look nicer in it, but it's totally up to you. And next, what we're going to do in our next video is we're going to talk about all of the accessories, how to make the tabs, the little flags, and the pockets. We'll spend some time on pockets. Well, I would like to thank you for watching, and please check out my YouTube channel so you can see making your own smash book using the new ARC system, and also check out my blog at www.paperboutiquewithlinda.com, and we'll get together soon. Bye-bye.